Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. The world's attention turns to Tianjin, China, a city that has rapidly transformed into a symbol of modernity and ambition. Its gleaming skyline and bustling streets set the stage for a gathering that could reshape the global order. Here, leaders from across Eurasia converge for the highly anticipated Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, an event that draws not only politicians but also the eyes of analysts and citizens worldwide. This is more than a routine diplomatic meeting, it's a clear signal that the global landscape is shifting. The conversations and decisions made here could have far-reaching consequences for years to come. The SCO now represents over 40% of the world's population and nearly a quarter of its economic output, making it a formidable presence on the world stage. Its influence stretches from the heart of Asia to the edges of Europe, touching billions of lives. What began as a modest regional security group has evolved into a major force in international affairs. Today, its agenda spans not just security but also trade, technology, energy, and the delicate balance of global power. This year's summit takes place against a backdrop of turmoil. The ongoing war in Ukraine and the conflict in Gaza have exposed deep divisions and heightened tensions within the international community. The world is watching to see how the SCO responds. For many nations often sidelined by Western-led institutions, the SCO offers a vital forum. Here they seek to amplify their voices and build an alternative to the US-dominated order, challenging the status quo and advocating for a multipolar world. The central question remains: can this diverse bloc, with its mix of cultures, economies, and political systems, turn shared grievances into unified action? Or will differences prove too great to overcome? Internal dynamics are undeniably complex. The SCO brings together countries with competing interests, historical rivalries, and unique national priorities. Navigating these differences will be a true test of the organization's cohesion and effectiveness. This summit is more than a diplomatic gathering. It's a test of whether the SCO can move beyond talk and truly challenge the existing global hierarchy, or if it will remain just another forum for discussion without real impact. The very existence of such a powerful gathering outside the traditional Western sphere of influence highlights a world that is no longer unipolar. Power is shifting, and new alliances are being forged. The decisions made in Tianjin will ripple far beyond the borders of member states. They have the potential to shape the future of international relations, influence global economic trends, and redefine the balance of power for generations to come. The summit's significance is underscored by the presence of Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Narendra Modi. These three leaders, representing some of the world's most influential nations, bring not only their personal gravitas, but also the weight of their country's ambitions to the table. Their attendance transforms the meeting into a summit of global consequence, drawing the attention of governments, analysts, and media outlets worldwide. The stakes are high, as decisions made here could ripple across continents and shape the future of international relations. Each leader brings a distinct agenda, navigating complex relationships with each other and the West. While their interests sometimes align, underlying tensions and competition for influence remain ever present, making every handshake and conversation significant. The war in Ukraine and the conflict in Gaza have reshaped the international order, and the SCO summit is where their aftershocks are felt. These crises have forced countries to reconsider alliances, economic dependencies, and security strategies, making this summit a focal point for global diplomacy. The Trump administration's recent 50% tariffs on Indian goods add urgency, pushing India to seek stronger economic ties within the SCO. For India, this is not just about trade, but about securing its economic future and reducing vulnerability to external shocks. For China and Russia, this move reinforces their argument that reliance on the West is risky. Both nations have faced sanctions and diplomatic pressure, and see the summit as an opportunity to deepen cooperation and present a united front against Western dominance. The summit is a platform to explore ways to insulate their economies and build resilient intra-bloc trade. Leaders discuss new trade routes, alternative payment systems, and joint investments, aiming to create a buffer against global volatility. The image of Putin, Xi, and Modi together signals a growing convergence among nations constrained by the current global system. Their unity sends a message that alternative centers of power are emerging, challenging the status quo. For the US and its allies, this gathering is a coordinated challenge to their influence. Western policymakers are watching closely, aware that shifts in alliances here could alter the balance of power for years to come. The world watches as India balances its role between competing blocs. As the summit unfolds, every move is scrutinized, and the choices made here could redefine India's place on the global stage. As host, China uses the SCO summit to project itself as a stabilizing global power. President Xi Jinping champions multilateralism, positioning Beijing at the center. The summit is choreographed to showcase China's leadership and present the SCO as a credible alternative to Western institutions. China's goal: forge a unified front to counter US strategic pressure, building a coalition of nations committed to a multipolar world. Yet the SCO is far from monolithic. Border tensions with India and other rivalries complicate unity. China must balance its ambitions with the need for harmony within the group. The summit is a masterclass in Chinese public diplomacy, aiming to create the perception of a cohesive bloc. Xi's message: China is a constructive force, building a more inclusive global system. For Putin, the SCO summit is a platform to counter the narrative of Russian isolation. Standing with China, India, and others, Putin projects strength and defiance. The summit marks Russia's pivot from Europe to Asia, with its partnership with China as the central pillar. Both seek to diminish US dominance, using the SCO to coordinate efforts. Yet Russia must also manage relationships with Central Asian republics, who seek autonomy from both Moscow and Beijing. The war in Ukraine looms over every conversation, with some SCO members maintaining neutrality. Putin frames the conflict as a defensive struggle against NATO, seeking support or understanding. The summit is his chance to reinforce alliances and secure Russia's place among non-Western powers. It's a delicate balancing act in a rapidly shifting landscape. India's presence at the SCO, led by Modi, highlights its complex foreign policy. As a member of both the Quad and the SCO, India walks a diplomatic tightrope. The recent US tariffs on Indian goods push New Delhi to diversify economic ties within the SCO. Modi's meetings with Xi and Putin are about securing India's economic future amid global unpredictability. India must advance its own security interests, especially on terrorism, without alienating powerful members. The summit tests India's strategy of multi-alignment, engaging all major powers to serve its interests. The world watches as India balances cooperation with China and Russia while maintaining ties with the West. Beneath the surface, the SCO is rife with internal divisions that challenge its effectiveness. Members hold conflicting views on issues like the war in Ukraine, with some supporting Russia and others remaining neutral. Disagreements on terrorism, especially between India and Pakistan, further complicate unity. Bilateral rivalries, particularly between India and China, often paralyze the organization. The SCO projects unity but struggles to translate it into substantive policy. Outcomes are often limited to symbolic gestures and carefully worded communiques. The Tianjin summit will likely be no different. Shared goals are emphasized, but divisions remain. The SCO's greatest challenge is internal disunity, limiting its transformative potential. Expansion is a key theme at the Tianjin summit, with new countries seeking to join the SCO. Growing membership boosts the bloc's relevance but brings new challenges. Welcoming states like Armenia and Azerbaijan could extend the SCO's reach but risks importing new conflicts. Expansion complicates decision-making and threatens to dilute focus. The SCO already struggles with consensus. More members could worsen divisions. A larger SCO could become a formidable bloc, or collapse under its own contradictions. China and Russia must manage growth to strengthen, not weaken the organization. The future depends on integrating new members while maintaining common purpose. As the leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization gathered under the bright lights of the summit, anticipation filled the air. Delegates from across Eurasia exchanged greetings, ready to discuss regional security, economic cooperation, and the future of global alliances. Suddenly news broke. Washington's announcement of a sweeping 50% tariff on Indian goods sent shockwaves through the summit halls. The timing was no accident, the message was clear and unmistakable. This bold move was a direct challenge to India, testing its allegiances and sowing discord at a moment when unity was crucial. The atmosphere shifted instantly. as delegates whispered and recalibrated their strategies. Prime Minister Modi, caught off guard by the sudden escalation, now faced a dilemma. Should he lean toward the West, risking ties with regional partners, or embrace the SCO bloc more fully? The stakes had never been higher. For China and Russia, the tariffs were more than just economic measures. They were proof of U.S. unpredictability. The move reinforced their calls for economic independence and a shift away from Western-dominated systems. The announcement dramatically shifted the summit's dynamic. China and Russia seized the moment, presenting a powerful argument for de-dollarization and the creation of alternative trade systems that could shield members from future shocks. Ironically, the U.S. action had the opposite effect of what was intended. Instead of isolating India, it pushed the country closer to the SCO, strengthening the very bloc Washington sought to undermine. The immediate effect was palpable. A new sense of urgency and common purpose swept through the room. Delegates who had arrived as cautious partners now found themselves united by a shared challenge. What could have been a routine diplomatic gathering was suddenly transformed into a real-world stress test, forcing leaders to confront the fragility of existing alliances and the volatility of global trade. The incident highlighted the risks of over-reliance on the West, underscoring the urgent need for robust alternatives and greater self-sufficiency among SCO members. In the end, the initial shock quickly turned to resolve. The bloc emerged more united than before, determined to chart a new course and face future challenges together. As the Tianjin summit ends, its true significance lies in its symbolism, not specific treaties. The SCO projects an alternative vision for global cooperation, explicitly not led by the U.S. Joint statements emphasize multilateralism, sovereignty, and mutual respect, a direct challenge to the Western order. For China, the summit was a diplomatic success, reinforcing its leadership of the non-Western world. The event was about shaping perceptions, not just policy. Deep-seated rivalries remain unresolved, but the summit strengthened bilateral ties and strategic messaging. The real impact is in the slow work of building a new world order. The Tianjin summit marks another step toward a multipolar world, as major powers seek independence from the West. The handshakes may be temporary, but the strategic shift is permanent.